Every person had a feeling as if they had been deceived somewhere or something had not been finished. Do you know it? Even before my marriage began, it was obvious that it was doomed to fail. But for some reason, I believed and hoped that everything would be fine. I was very much in love, and it ruined me. Yeah, I understand what you're thinking. This sounds like a load of nonsense. It's hard to believe anyone would buy into this story or that any wife could act this insanely. But I possess an authentic recording of the call that I'm willing to share upon request. Hearing it is the only way to grasp how unbelievably foolish a woman could be. Yes, the voicemail is genuine, and it marked the end of our marriage, shattering everything sacred between us. I refused to accept being her cuckold and endure her betrayal. Her fantasy cost her dearly. Before I provide you with the transcript of that voicemail, let me offer some context. Maggie and I tied the knot straight out of high school. We were incredibly close, knowing deep down that our bond would last a lifetime. Throughout high school, we remained devoted solely to each other, both hailing from families with strong Midwest values and attending the same private religious school. We even made a commitment to maintain our virginity until our wedding night, a practice rooted in our upbringing. At the youthful age of 19, our families arranged our wedding. It was to be a joyous occasion, with all our loved ones coming together to celebrate our love at the familiar church we had attended since childhood, followed by a reception at the VFW Hall. Our reception embodied typical Midwest simplicity. With modest financial means, we cherished the uncomplicated pleasures of life. For us, a simple wedding was the epitome of perfection, devoid of any facade, with plenty of beer and dancing to revel in. About a week before my wedding, my friends organized a bachelor party, which was a turning point in my marriage. We spent a fantastic night at one of our favorite establishments before heading back to Kevin's house after closing time to have some more fun. The guys pooled their money to hire a couple of dancers who would arrange a real evening at Kevin's. By this time, I'd already exceeded my limit, and I can hardly remember what happened until the end of the evening. The next morning, I woke up in an unfamiliar bed, not remembering anything about what had happened. Obviously, one of the women was hitting on me while the guys were egging her on. I didn't remember anything about it when I woke up the next morning with a severe headache. To my horror, one of the guys who was jealous of my relationship sent Maggie a photo of the incident. It was a nightmare. I was completely unaware of the photo until I encountered Maggie later that day. She greeted me with a forceful slap across the face and unleashed a stream of curses while standing on her parents' doorstep. She declared that the wedding was off and demanded that I leave, forbidding any further communication. The following day, I mustered all my courage to engage her in conversation again. After hours of apologies and explanations, she ceased her tirade, though her expression remained one of intense animosity. It seemed the wedding was doomed unless I could conjure some sort of miracle. Our final exchange went something like this. Billy, the one thing we shared was our commitment to each other, our pledge to remain faithful. Now, I'm the only one who can claim that. You've shattered our promise to save ourselves for each other. Maggie, I would never have done anything to betray you. It was a setup by my foolish friends, and now I'm paying the price for something I never intended. Regardless, it's done. What do we do now? I don't know. Would you want to seek retribution and be with someone else before the wedding? She hit me hard again, and the irritation and pain intensified. How dare you talk to me like that? I'm not some girl of easy virtue who will just sleep with anyone like you. Damn it, Maggie, I didn't sleep with her, and it wasn't my fault. This argument lasted for several hours until finally, at midnight, we hugged and kissed for the first time in 2 days. We cried in each other's arms, finally leaving this event behind, but with one condition. Billy, I will announce that the wedding will still take place, but only if you let me even the score. What does it mean to even the score? Not now and not in the near future, but someday I might want to spend an evening with girls, or maybe dance with another guy. A one-time subscription to the gym if such a situation arises. I don't want this to happen, but I feel like I need the opportunity to be on equal footing in this situation. So if you ever want another guy in the future, I have to agree to it. Yes, just once, like you. Like I said, I don't need anyone else, and I know this will never happen, but I need you to feel like we're even after you let that girl do things to you. After hours of pleading, sleep deprivation, and a pounding headache, I finally relented. I was convinced she had requested this as a way to impart a lesson and establish a sense of equilibrium between us. I was confident there was nothing to fret about. We never broached the subject again after that night, and everything returned to normal. The wedding proceeded smoothly. The individual who had sent that photograph to Maggie mysteriously missed the wedding. He was hospitalized with 2 fractured legs and a concussion. Evidently, my best man Harley was displeased with his attempt to disrupt my wedding. Disrespecting members of our group, without anticipating consequences, was not tolerated. Over the course of the following 7 years, our bond flourished into something magical, strengthening our love and keeping us inseparable. I completed courses at the local university, ultimately earning my degree in computer engineering. It was there that I delved deep into the realms of blockchain technology and cryptology, acquiring invaluable knowledge. Amidst this journey, Bitcoin emerged as a novel phenomenon. Almost whimsically, I obtained over 95 Bitcoins at minimal cost, storing them in a paper wallet for over 6 years, unbeknownst to anyone. When Bitcoin soared to over $60,000 per coin, I realized our lives were about to undergo a profound transformation. Quietly, I began to chart our future, withholding mention of my newfound wealth until the opportune moment. Despite our newfound financial status, money remained inconsequential in our lives. I was resolute in ensuring that this windfall wouldn't alter us or lead us down the path of those sensationalized on shows like Jerry Springer, individuals who oscillate from poverty to riches and back to destitution. With careful stewardship, I meticulously managed and expanded the substantial portfolio now at my disposal. Collaborating with various accountants and advisors, I ensured that we would be endowed with generational wealth, securing our financial future indefinitely. While all of this was unfolding, I was employed at a prominent engineering firm pursuing my passion. Maggie, on the other hand, worked at the local library, a job she found fulfilling despite its modest pay. I managed our finances, and much to Maggie's happiness, we led a comfortable life. Both of us were in our mid-20s, contemplating the next chapter of starting a family. It was a moment to relish life and provide Maggie with the luxuries our upbringing couldn't afford. After a late night of dining and dancing, I broached the topic of family planning with her. She eagerly agreed, deciding to discontinue her contraceptive pills and schedule a doctor's appointment for the following week. We wanted everything to be just right. I intended to surprise Maggie with a new house and her beloved luxury car, the Mercedes GLC AMG 43. With my investments flourishing and sound financial advice, I was poised to allocate enough funds for our dream home and her new car. It felt as though we were living in a fairy tale once again, our love stronger than ever. Each morning I expressed gratitude to the universe and my faith, almost wondering if this was all too good to be true. The following day, I accompanied Maggie to the nearby Mercedes dealership and informed the saleswoman that we were beginning a family and seeking a secure SUV for Maggie to drive. Maggie dismissed it as a jest and urged me to stop fooling around, delivering a firm punch to my arm. "Billy, quit being foolish. Why tease me with my dream car? We could never afford something like that," she chided. "Maggie, I've cherished you my whole life, and I aim to make you the happiest wife in the world. As we embark on starting a family, I want to ensure your safety on the road. I've been putting money aside, and we can afford this. I want you to have it, darling," I expressed. The saleswoman was moved to tears upon witnessing my declaration of love for Maggie. The sales manager proceeded to draft the contract, and we traded in Maggie's old car for the new one, set to be ready the following Saturday. We opted for some additional customization and features, which would take a few days to finalize. The finance manager at the dealership offered me the choice between leasing the car or taking out a car loan. My wife and the saleswoman were astonished when I informed them that I would be purchasing the car outright, with a certified check, for the full $97,789 when I picked it up the following week. As we had already traded in her old car, they provided us with a loaner for the week, a perk reserved for their top-tier customers. I realized I was now considered one of their premier customers and couldn't help but smile. That night, Maggie gave me the most incredible experience of my life. She showed her gratitude for the car and for my love in a way that left me speechless. After an unforgettable night together, she expressed her love for me and her happiness at being my wife. I couldn't help but think to myself, just wait until she discovers the house I'm planning to buy for her. I can't imagine how our passion could possibly intensify any further. The following morning during breakfast, we delved into discussions about children and starting a family. It became our primary focus, occupying our conversations in the days that followed. I began to notice a change in Maggie's demeanor, a subtle shift towards being more distant and reserved. Night after night, I inquired about her mood, but she brushed it off, insisting that it was nothing. Until Thursday night. That's when I realized I was facing a problem. Upon returning home from work, I found Maggie looking visibly sad and uneasy. Her expression hinted at trouble brewing. My mind raced with thoughts of illness or worse, fearing that something had happened to one of our aging parents who had relocated to Florida and Arizona for retirement. Is everyone all right? Did something happen, Maggie? No, everyone's okay, but there's something I need to discuss with you. Something you might not like. What's going on? Sweetheart, please sit down. We need to have a conversation. Upon hearing that, I distinctly recall thinking, oh no, as I took a seat opposite her at the kitchen table. Billy, I love you dearly, and I'm eager to begin our family and have children with you. You're an amazing husband, the only man I've ever loved and the only one I've ever been with. That's wonderful to hear, Maggie. You know how much I adore you. Our love isn't in question, darling. But as I mentioned, you've been with another woman, whereas I haven't been with another man. It's about the discussions we've had regarding starting a family. I feel that once I'm pregnant and have children, I wouldn't ever desire another man. I'm not saying I have a longing for anyone else, but I feel the need to be with someone else just once, before we embark on parenthood. What do you mean by being with someone else? This might be difficult for you to hear, but I want to use my hall pass. Just once before we start having children. Just once to experience what it's like with someone else. You remember the hall pass, right? Of course I do, but I thought after 7 happy years you would have moved past that and forgiven that mistake. I had until we started discussing babies. Honey, I love you, and this has nothing to do with you. As a woman, I just feel the need to have one experience with someone else before I commit to spending the rest of my life with you as your wife and the mother of your children. No, Maggie, I can't allow you to do that. I won't let you, and that's final. I understand this is difficult, but I've arranged to meet someone tomorrow night. Just a couple of hours, and then I'll be back with you forever. I have no emotional attachment to him, but I feel he's the best choice to help me with this. Maggie, is this a joke? Are you trying to kill me? No, it's not a joke, and I swear I love you and I don't want to hurt you, which is why I'm utilizing the hall pass you granted me. Tomorrow night, I'll drive to see him at 8 p.m., and I'll be back by 10 p.m. before your hockey game finishes. I've already checked, and I know they have a playoff game that starts at 8 p.m., and I'll return to you before it concludes. Maggie, I granted you that hall pass, but I never expected you to use it. I don't want you to go. And I didn't want you to be with her either, but it's too late. You owe me this. Just 2 hours and I'll be back. Solely yours forever. Look, you initiated this with that other woman, and you promised me a one-time pass if I married you. As you might recall, I did marry you and gave you 7 wonderful years. I'm sorry, but as I said, you owe me this, Billy. Until now, I thought our life was flawless and that she was content with our relationship. But in just under 5 minutes, everything has changed and I'm at a loss for how to react. After 2 hours of arguing, I realized I wouldn't prevail, and she was set on using her hall pass. So it's settled and I have no say in it. But what if I refuse? Well, technically you could, and it won't occur tomorrow. But consider this for a moment. It will upset me and I won't feel like we're on equal terms again. Perhaps I might go through with it without informing you, leaving you to ponder over it for the duration of our marriage. Doing it this way ensures control. It will only happen once, for 2 hours, and never again. I've never deceived you or given you cause to doubt me, but if you deny me what was promised, I can't guarantee it won't happen later on. This way there's no looming threat, and we can move forward, start our family, and put this behind us. Maggie, I love you too, but this is the most challenging thing I've ever faced. Allowing my beloved wife to be with another man is causing me indescribable pain. Darling, when I saw that picture of you with that woman, I felt the same anguish. I can vividly recall it. So I empathize with you, but I assure you, it will improve. When I return tomorrow night, I'll be the best spouse I can be, I promise. Who is he? His name is Derek. Surprisingly, he's the barrister at the Starbucks in my office building. I see him daily, and we've developed a friendship. I informed him about my hall pass, and he consented to assist me. He poses no threat to you, and I harbor no sentiments for him. That's why I selected him. He isn't well employed, he's around 19 years old and probably single. He understands it's a one-time arrangement, and I believe he's the perfect fit for this. I can't fathom this, but I understand your rationale. I detest this situation, and the mere thought of your intention is distressing. I value your honesty, but this exceeds anything I could have anticipated. All right, if we proceed with this, which I don't want, you must adhere to my conditions, or we can terminate our relationship now. I don't want to lose you, but if you don't agree to these terms, I'm prepared to leave and initiate divorce proceedings. Please don't mention divorce, that's extreme, and naturally I want you to be comfortable with this. What conditions were you considering? It's hard for me to believe that I'm even thinking about it, but here's what I might be willing to agree with. 1. Absolutely no one except you, me, and your partner will ever know about this. 2. This is a one-time exception that will never happen again. If you bring this up again or ask about it in the future, I will file for divorce immediately. 3. After the incident, I will not maintain any contact with this person. Ever. 4. You must disclose all the details of your actions without any prompting. I expect complete honesty without any concealment. 5. If intimacy occurs, precautions must be taken. 6. You will not allow it because it is allowed exclusively to me. 7. You must return home immediately. Your departure time must not exceed 10 p.m. 8. Your phone should always be on in case I need to contact you. 9. Once everything is completed, we will never discuss this issue again. 10. You will stay in the guest room for a week until I deal with this situation. She climbed onto my lap and hugged me tightly. Thank you, dear. I adore you and fully support your rules. Let me express my love to you. I took her to bed to distract her from her anxious thoughts. I wanted her to understand that she belongs only to me, and I belong to her. The next morning, when we were about to leave, I uploaded a video with her to review the plans. She seemed thoughtful, promising to let me know after lunch. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she called and confessed her love to me. Billy, I want you to understand how much I love you, even though I know it will be difficult. I'm going to meet Derek, but I'll be back home soon. Please, darling, reconsider. I'm worried about how this will affect us in our marriage. Just come back to me and I'll do whatever it takes to make things right. I hate feeling so helpless, but I don't know what else to do. Please, Maggie, don't go to him tonight. We've talked about this, Billy. I'll see you tonight. Remember how much I care about you. I hear your words, Maggie, but being with another man doesn't make me feel loved. I love you, Billy. Goodbye for now, darling. I'll see you tonight. And she hung up. I sat there staring at the phone, realizing I was crying again. Have I become completely weak? My stomach churned with anxiety and my heart ached. It was the first time I'd ever felt such heartbreak. I promised myself I wouldn't feel this way again. The only woman I ever loved was about to be with another man because of some messed-up bachelor party and a drunken act I can't even recall. It was all garbage, but she reminded me that I had agreed to it before we got married. I felt screwed over and knew my night was going to be terrible. I had no clue how to handle her return. Little did I know, I wouldn't need to worry about that. Unable to bear the thought of going home alone while she was out, I headed to the local sports bar to drown my sorrows in hockey and booze. I made sure to be back home by 10 p.m., wanting to be there when she returned. I wasn't certain of my actions or demeanor, but I wanted her to feel my pain and some remorse for what she'd put me through. As I sat at the bar sipping my second glass of whiskey, I took out my phone and made one final attempt to intervene. It was nearing 8 p.m. when I dialed, pleading with her to reconsider, but the call went straight to voicemail. That infuriated me because she was supposed to keep her phone on. She had already violated one of my rules. That settled it. This was inevitable, and I felt utterly powerless. I arrived home before 10 p.m. and turned on the last period of the playoff game. Between the drinks and the humiliation, my mind was in turmoil, unable to focus. Pouring another drink, I watched the clock tick and my anger escalate. I drifted off during overtime, waiting for Maggie to return. The voicemail message. It seems that Derek the barrister must have possessed some sort of enchanting charm because all our prior agreements seemed to be disregarded. As the night grew late and Maggie failed to return home, I found myself drowning in alcohol, eventually succumbing to unconsciousness on the couch while awaiting her arrival. I steered awake around midnight, still somewhat inebriated and disoriented. As my faculties returned, I rubbed my eyes, glanced at the clock, and reached for my phone. To my dismay, I had missed her call and noticed a voicemail waiting. Pressing play, I listened to her hesitant words, punctuated by long pauses. She delivered her message with evident reluctance, striving to soften the blow as much as possible. However, it did little to ease the pain. Here's the voicemail verbatim. "Hi, it's me. I noticed you called. Sorry I missed your call earlier. I've been enjoying myself, but I'm fine. Everything's good. Actually, I'm doing really well. I'm still with Derek. He lives not too far from the mall here and..." Long pause. "Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun." Long pause. "So I know you probably have a lot of questions, so I'll try to answer them quickly. He's in the shower right now, but when he's out, I'll probably be occupied again, so I might not pick up the phone." "Okay. Firstly, yes, he's much bigger than you. I'd say probably close to double your size. Secondly, yes, I often felt great pleasure. I lost count of how many times, but every time it was very strong." Pause. "Yes, he is much superior to you." Pause. "Uniquely. It will never compare to you." Very long pause. "And now, I suppose I'm going to share with you something that you probably don't want to hear, but I promise to be honest. I hope you're not angry, but we're not protecting ourselves." Pause. "I understand that it's against the rules, but I can't put into words what an incredible feeling I feel. You're amazing, but this experience is just mind-blowing. I think we've been close 9 times already. Something else happened. I let him." Long pause. "I let him do what he was forbidden to do. I know I said I wouldn't do it, and I'm not letting you do it, but he's so amazing. I'm sorry, but I'm staying here tonight. He's taking me to the library in the morning, so you don't have to worry about picking me up. I know we've been talking for about 4 hours now, but I really need this. It's just unbelievable. Please don't be angry and try to understand. I promise I'll make it up to you." Long pause. "And finally, I want you to know that I'm thinking about making this a regular event. I know I initially said it would be an isolated incident, but I realized that I wanted to continue dating him. Our relationship remains unchanged, but I am eager to meet him again. Our closeness is second to none, and it is truly extraordinary. I promise that soon we will be able to start planning our future together." Pause. "So I'm going to get back to our wonderful activities. The amazing news is that he shares your love of nylon stockings and heels. And after we met, he left quite a mark on my stockings. When I get back tomorrow, I'll have some deliciously beautiful nylon stockings for you, and you can pamper yourself if you want. I'll call you tomorrow morning, but I'll probably turn off my phone tonight since we'll be busy. Thank you again for your understanding and the freedom you have given me. I love you very much, and I'll talk to you later. All the best, dear. In the meantime, goodbye." That marked the end of our fairy tale, transitioning into my personal nightmare. Our marriage had crumbled, and I sensed my life was on the brink of a seismic shift. I fired off an email to my boss citing a family emergency for my impending absence. Screw him if he had any objections. Screw everyone. In an instant, I was stone-cold sober and seething with rage. I could feel the blood coursing through my veins, my heart hammering in my chest. It was a sensation unfamiliar to me, yet I channeled the fury and indignation to propel my actions forward. Sleep evaded me that night, and by 7 a.m. my F-150 was loaded with 3 suitcases packed with clothes and 5 boxes containing my documents, computers, and all personal belongings. She would soon face the repercussions of her actions. She had forsaken everything, our prospective family, a life of opulence, and the years of devoted love I had poured upon her. And for what? Some stranger's company? Damn it. I loathed myself for allowing it to come to this. The next morning, I noticed several missed calls from her and promptly blocked her number. There was nothing left to discuss, and engaging with her would only reignite my anger. Plus, I was preoccupied with packing and had no time to spare. I aimed to disappear from her life before her return. I drove 6 hours north to the Lake of the Ozarks and secured a rental cabin on the lake en route. A week of solitude in this serene setting was just what I craved. Upon check-in at 3 p.m., exhaustion hit me suddenly. After settling into my room, I planned to grab a few hours of rest, followed by a satisfying meal before regaining my focus. Later that night, upon switching my phone back on, I was bombarded with texts and calls. Evidently, Maggie remained oblivious to my anger and the severity of my response. Later, I discovered that an hour after I left, she returned home and went into the kitchen. That's when she noticed the note, my phone, and the wedding ring on the table, as she had just returned from her business. She did not expect me to leave in this way, and sincerely believed that I would understand her actions. In desperation, she grabbed my note and started reading it. "Maggie, it's over between us, and that's why 1. No protection was used, as you mentioned in your voice message. 2. You turned off your phone, which is why I couldn't contact you. 3. You were supposed to leave at 10 p.m., but instead spent the night with him. 4. You did to him what you promised to save for me. 5. What was supposed to be a one-time activity now seems like a long-term affair. You're free to pursue it. Now it's all yours. 6. I didn't need to hear about how much better he was than me. Thank you for telling me about my shortcomings as a partner. Well, he's all yours now. Enjoy it. Due to these circumstances, our relationship is over. You can keep my wedding ring as a keepsake. There's no need to search for me, as I've left and won't be reachable. Since Derek seems to bring you such joy, feel free to move in with him. The rent for the apartment is covered until the end of the month when the lease ends. I'm relieved I didn't renew it for another year. You'll have to either sign a new lease or move in with your new partner. Forget about the new car. I won't be paying for it anymore. You'll have to return the loaner car to the dealership and retrieve your old one if it hasn't been sold yet. I haven't withdrawn any money from our joint checking or savings accounts. You can keep it, but it'll probably only last you a month if you're frugal. Remember, now that I'm gone, you'll be responsible for all utilities, groceries, and expenses. Our joint credit cards have been canceled. It's time for you to stand on your own feet. On Monday, I'll resign from my job over the phone, wherever I am. You'll need to arrange your own health insurance. As for children, not with me. They're not in my plans. Perhaps your new partner can fulfill that aspect of your life. You can initiate divorce proceedings if you wish, but it doesn't matter to me. In my view, our marriage is over. You might as well file for abandonment, and in a year, it will be official. I've always had feelings for you and will miss our time together, but I can't continue living with the woman who left that message for me last night. I don't recognize her, and she won't have a place in my life. I refuse to be deceived. You took advantage of me, and something occurred over 7 years ago without my knowledge. I hope you find satisfaction in destroying everything we built together. If you need a reminder of what was said in the voicemail, I've shared a link to the recording on my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and WhatsApp. Once our friends and family hear it, they'll understand why I had to leave. I hope you find pleasure in reliving your betrayal and the end of our marriage. I despise your actions, and I wish you a future filled with remorse and unhappiness. Billy. Maggie's Reflections. She tapped on her phone and opened the voicemail message. As her own words echoed through her ears, she crumbled, sinking to her knees in despair. Overwhelmed with grief, she felt profound regret for her actions. Caught in a haze of weed and wine, she had lost control of the situation. Though her emotions were genuine, she regretted the way she had conveyed them in the voicemail. If only she had known Billy would leave her, she never would have gone through with it. For an hour she sobbed and wailed, consumed by anguish. Eventually, amidst tears and heartache, she crafted a lengthy apology in response to his social media post. She hoped that both Billy and others would recognize her remorse and desire to reconcile. Yet Billy remained absent from social media following his last message. In her mind, she clung to the hope that if he had read her apology, he might reconsider, giving their relationship another chance. But deep down, she knew that wasn't likely. Sometime later. During that week, Billy made the decision to distance himself from his current location as much as possible. After resigning from his job and consulting with his financial advisors, he arranged to spend the next 2 months in Hawaii, the very destination he had planned to surprise Maggie with for a vacation. As a token of appreciation for his friendship, Billy sent his best man, Harley, the title to his truck along with instructions on where to collect it. He explained that he would be away for an extended period and provided his new email address to stay connected. Harley kept in touch with Billy and informed him about the events that unfolded after his departure. Despite Maggie's pleading, Harley couldn't disclose Billy's whereabouts. Upon returning the loaner car, Maggie discovered that her old car had already been sent to auction by the dealership. They refused to compensate her, citing that the funds would cover the loaner car expenses. Retrieving her car would require legal action, which seemed daunting given her financial situation. She made desperate attempts to contact Billy, but his whereabouts remained unknown. Despite her parents' anger towards her actions, they offered her a place to stay in Arizona. She held on to the apartment, hoping Billy would return to his senses. Maggie took on 2 jobs to make ends meet, realizing the financial strain she hadn't noticed before, as Billy had always taken care of expenses. She eventually recognized her immature desire for revenge as a significant mistake. After a year of silence from Billy, she accepted he wouldn't return. Though she dated other men, she never found the same love she had with Billy. She deeply missed him and regretted taking advantage of their relationship with that foolish hall pass. 2 years later, the marriage ended, granting them both freedom once more. Leveraging his expertise in cryptocurrencies and financial investments, Billy's account flourished to a substantial $28 million over the ensuing years. Now residing in his new beachfront home on the Hawaiian island of Kauai with his 21-year-old wife, Kelly, Billy had envisioned purchasing this very house for Maggie before their relationship deteriorated. Kelly, his newfound love, was content and committed, ensuring her fidelity by signing a prenuptial agreement to safeguard against any unforeseen betrayals in the future. While Maggie grappled with financial difficulties and sought new affection, Billy embarked on a fresh chapter filled with love and contentment. While some may argue that Billy should have shared his wealth with Maggie or provided support, it's crucial to recall that prior to their split, Billy had intended to bestow everything upon her openly. However, circumstances evolved. In Billy's perspective, Maggie's infidelity obliterated any remaining affection he held for her. In his mind, she received her just desserts, a life devoid of his love and riddled with remorse, precisely as Billy had envisioned for her. One day, amidst her sad, solitary existence in her small town, Maggie witnessed a TV interview featuring a familiar face, Billy, her ex-husband. Startled, she leapt to her feet and stood before the screen. CNN was showcasing Billy discussing his Save the Children Foundation from his lavish beach residence in Kauai, alongside his wife Kelly and their daughter Abigail. It dawned on her then how greatly she had erred. Seeing Billy thriving with his new family after years of absence hit her with profound regret. As she learned of his accomplishments and transformation into a philanthropist born from his wealth, she succumbed to tears of despair. She realized she had become a shattered individual, all due to her desire for retribution. Recollecting a quote from her favorite author, John Sothard, "The only people you should get even with are those who have helped you," she resolved. to keep that in mind if ever granted another chance.
That's the end of the story. Write your opinion in the comments about this story. It will be interesting for us to read it. Also, do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel so as not to miss new, equally interesting and exciting stories. Good luck!